Hi everyone, I'm Tovah. Thanks for joining. And today's class is all about chest, shoulders, and your neck. So we're going to look to open up through the chest and shoulders, which should help soothe tired, sore shoulders and sore necks. So let's jump onto our mats. But before we get started, ideally you will have a couple of props for today's class. So if you do have a couple of yoga blocks or a cushion or two, definitely grab them and I can show you how you can best use those props. And of course you can do today's practice with no props as well. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button. See you on the mat. We're going to begin today's practice just comfortably lying on your back. And you can let your knees bend and let them come into just a nice tented knee position. While we're here, we'll just get a little bit of release through our hips as well. And from here, you're going to aim to lie with your arms in a cactus position. So that's like a 90-degree bend in the elbow with the palms facing the ceiling. And your aim here is to have your whole arm as well as the back of your hand resting on the floor. So if need be, you can always tuck a cushion underneath your hands here or a small towel or blanket if you find that your hands can't quite reach. And you can make it a little bit easier by coming closer to a W position. So just releasing from that 90-degree bend a little bit. And then easier still would be coming into a T position with the arms. So finding the right range of motion here, whether that's all the way in cactus or whether it's just part way in cactus. And we're going to start here just resting for the first couple of breaths. Maybe setting an intention for today's practice. Start to put away your to-do lists. Let your mind begin to move to a quieter place. And now that your shoulders and your chest is beginning to open just a little bit here. And of course, if this is already a really strong stretch for you, you're going to just stay still in this position. But we can look at adding some slides here. So in this position, whether you're in a cactus or whether you're in a W, if you're in a T, just stay still. You're going to stretch your arms up into like a Y position. Still trying to keep your arm and your hand on the floor. And then you're gonna tuck it back in to come into like a low W or like a low cactus. So you bring the elbows in by your ribs as much as you can. That's maybe not very far. And then stretch the arms back out and just trying to keep on the floor. And if you come off the floor, that means that you're going too far for your range of motion. So for some people, this will be a really big range of motion. For others, it'll be really small or maybe no motion at all and just maintaining the cactus, the W, or the T on the floor. This is also a great exercise that you can do to open up the chest and the shoulders while standing up against a wall also. Good, let's do one more. Good, and as you come back to the middle, just release the arms and then slowly make your way onto your tummy. Good, and from here, you're gonna start by stretching out your right arm. And you can rest your head on your hand. You could use a cushion here. You could turn your neck to the side. Just find a comfortable position. And as you reach that arm out, you're gonna then start to roll towards that side. So you can use the other hand, if you're not resting your head on it, to just give you a little bit of a gentle push over. You might be lying all the way on your side here. You can bend your knees so that you're more comfortable. And you don't want to feel pain here. So you just want to come to the place that you're feeling a little bit of stretch. And you can use your opposite hand just to help support or help push you a little bit deeper if you need it. And if you're feeling like venturing a little bit farther or a little bit more open in the shoulders than I am, you can start to take your top leg and reach it back as you start to roll over a little bit farther. But right here is just perfect for me. Good, and let's roll back onto our tummies. Just take your time here as you bring the arm in. And maybe you just want to lie still here for a moment. Maybe there's some movement that you feel that you need to do. Go ahead and do that. And then when you're ready, stretching the opposite arm out. And just go gentle here. Know that one side isn't always exactly the same as the other. So you might go a little farther, you might go a little less, as you just find that sweet spot for you. And then when you get there, when you arrive, just resolve to rest and be still. Good, and let's go on ahead and roll back over. Just take your time here as you bring things back towards the center. Good, and we're gonna make our way now into what I like to call a super shoulder roll. So if you do have a bolster or a cushion, here's where we'll want to use a couple of things. So something for underneath your head and something also to rest your thigh or your leg on. And I think actually I'm gonna do head on the block and thigh on the bolster. So we're gonna start by lying on our right side. And you're gonna use a cushion underneath your knee or a block here. And of course you could do this with nothing at all and be flat on the floor. Just a cushion here helps to keep your head in a little bit better alignment, and the cushion under the knee, same deal here. It can be a little bit easier through the body, and especially if this is a tight area for you. Could be a rolled up towel as well. So you're gonna stretch both arms out to the front. like you're making an alligator snout here. And then just nice and slow, you're gonna start to drag the top hand, palm down, on the floor, up over your head. And as you start to roll open here, you're going to turn the palm up and then try to keep dragging the hand on the floor as you come around, palm up. And then as you come back over your hip, then you're gonna turn your hand back, palm down. So just nice and slow, really big, make these circles. And definitely you're not forcing yourself down to the floor if your body doesn't go there. You're just aiming to keep it as close to the floor as you can manage. And usually after you do a few of these, things start to open up and it gets a little bit easier. You can also stop, pause, and hold in a position if you find a real tight spot. And if you're able to keep your hand on the floor the whole way around, that's really a good test as well. It lets you know that your shoulder, your T-spine mobility, so your thoracic spine, they're all working together and have pretty good movement. If your arm is way off the floor and this is really, really challenging for you to get around, then you know that this is a great exercise for you and that this is an area that you need to work on. Let's do one more swoop around. Perfect. We're gonna roll over and do it on the opposite side here. And this is one of my favorite chest, shoulder, and T-spine mobility exercises. It just gets that whole area and that whole connective chain working together. So if you have some tightness in one spot in your body, it's never just in one spot. It's always multi-dimensional. So finding exercises that work a few things together really helps to get everything moving in unison to make that movement better or make that movement happen. Nice big deep breaths here. And if you notice that your knee is coming way off the cushion, then that's also a sign that you're trying too hard to bring your hand to the floor. So your knee should remain down here. And if you don't have something to rest your knee on, of course, it's gonna come off the floor a little bit, that's fine. But if it comes too much off, don't try so hard to bring your hand down. Good, let's do one more circle here. Just making your way back to the starting position. And then once you've made it all the way around, you're just gonna roll over onto your stomach here. And we're gonna come into this really big hug position. So you're gonna crisscross your arms. Just remember which arm is forward and which arm is a little further back. And rock a little bit side to side until you feel like you've got your arms as tight as they can go in this crossed position. Relax your legs, bow your head here. And depending on what this looks like for your body, you might be able to put a block or a cushion rested underneath your head. You might rest your head on your arms or just let your head dangle gently, releasing tension through the neck and spine. And if you need to make this a little bit easier, wiggle your feet and your body back a little bit. That will decrease the pressure. And if you want to make this a little more challenging, wiggle your body a little further forward so you have a little deeper pressure in through the shoulders. Go ahead and just rocking side to side gently as you come out of this posture. And just allow yourself to rest in the middle for a moment, either arms tucked up or arms reaching back by your sides. And now let's take that position going the opposite way. So you want to bring the other arm forward and the other arm back. And you probably have a way that feels much easier for you or just more natural to go to. So if you can't remember which arm was forward and which arm was back, go the comfortable way and then switch to the opposite side. Good, and begin to release here. And just letting yourself rest for a moment. And as we come into our final mobility posture for today, or opening posture, I'm going to use 2 blocks as I get into supported fish. You could definitely choose to use a bolster instead if you like something a little bit softer underneath your back. So you could have 2 bolsters or 2 cushions. And if this isn't a position that feels comfortable for you, I'll show you when I get down there. You can lie flat on your back and move into lying bound angle instead. So I'm gonna take my blocks and I'm gonna set them up like this. You could also, if you're using a block, decide to have it the opposite direction, so the skinny direction. If you are using a bolster here for the middle cushion, I would definitely put it across this way, just because the way that we're trying to open through our thoracic spine today is going to work better this way. Of course, this direction of the bolster feels really nice for the back as well. It's just not what we're focusing on in today's practice, but feel free to choose any options that you like. So you're going to set yourself up. And this sometimes just takes a moment to get into it. You want to lie back so that that bolster is coming right across my shoulder blades. And then I want to adjust so the other block is catching my head. And of course, you can turn the block down 1 level. You could turn it up a level if you like. You could switch to something softer. And if you're somebody who this position just isn't accessible, or you don't have any cushions or props for today, I'll get you to lie onto your back, and you can come into lying bound angle. So you can put your feet together and let your knees open wide. And you might choose to stay in this position with your legs while you're in supported fish as well. So however is comfortable with your legs, we could get a little extra hip opening here. You could stretch your legs out straight. you could come into that tented knee position that we began the practice with. And for this posture, just really try to let go. Let the cushions or the blocks hold you. Breathe deep. Good, and you're gonna slowly bring yourself out of this position. If your legs were apart, start by bringing your legs back together. Stretch your legs out, and when you're ready, you can use your hands to help here. Just lifting up enough that you can slide those blocks or those cushions away. And then we are gonna finish in a final Savasana today. So just taking the last few moments of class to allow your body to recover, to rest, to bring itself back to a new balance place. I invite you to close your eyes or just take a steady gaze somewhere at the ceiling. Let your breath just be. And begin to breathe a little bit deeper as you start to move your fingers and move your toes. And when you feel ready, bend your knees and let yourself just gently roll over to one side. Just resting there for a couple of breaths. And now coming back to a comfortable seated or kneeling place on our mats. I do truly hope that you enjoyed today's class, that your neck, chest, and shoulders are feeling a little bit looser. And if you do this practice on a regular basis, definitely that will help relieve a lot of chronic tension and chronic pain in those areas. So whether that's from spending a lot of time at a computer, you do a lot of exercise, that's just an area that gets stressed and where you hold your stress and you hold your tension. But get in there, loosen it up, practice often. We'll finish the practice with our hands at our heart. Loka Samusta Sukhi Nu Bhavantu. May all beings everywhere find happiness and freedom. Namaste.